What's going on, everybody? We are going head to head with Monday Night Football, and we are going to win this ratings battle no matter what. Well, in reality, whatever happens, happens. We are looking forward to a good night backstage. I've got Tony, Southern Collector 14, Darren, Return to Collecting, and the one and only Mike Petty. But first, let's take a look at our preview.
All right, another MidLife Live. You all asked, after the last live stream, you said, why change something that doesn't need changing? So we are rolling them back with the same crew.
What do you say? What do you know there, Beaver Feet?
Seeing how many people were just sitting there with their fingers up their noses that worked for SGC at their booth at the National was really mind-blowing, man.
Where's Greg?
That the hobby right now is going through the 7 stages of grief.
I can't see. I can't see. What's the matter? I got my eyes closed.
He should just stop giving advice.
Hey, Fatso, why don't you come on and show yourself?
This guy who's never gotten up to bat in the major leagues has a gold refractor 1 of 1 that costs more than, an Ernie Banks rookie in a 9.
Are you going to say my name? Are you going to... Oh, you didn't say my name. Well, that's bullcrap. I said your name.
You have a basic elementary grasp of the topic you're going to discuss.
We won't be friends, and that I really don't care.
It annoys me when people act like they're experts in something that literally don't know anything about it.
I call Ken Griffey a cheater because he takes steroids.
He just doesn't know what the frig he's talking about.
How are you, my handsome friend?
Cool. It's worth more money now, right?
He's not an all-star.
I just think that was the stupidest video ever.
Basically, you can play with yourself.
That is terrible, terrible, terrible advice.
I gotta take my blood pressure meds.
I look like Casper the Friendly Ghost, man.
Well, if you bought a 52 Topps Mickey Mantle and a 9 10 years ago, you wouldn't have made the same ROI if you had bought a PSA 10 years ago.
I click on somebody's thing, and it's the most boring thing you ever want to watch.
Man, this is weird.
Cool. There's 3 of them. How many people that are watching YouTube channels can afford a card that probably will sell for $50 to $60 million if it ever sells?
This guy didn't vote for me. That guy didn't vote for me. I'm not an all-star.
People collect Pokemon.
I think to be a billionaire, you just don't always have a great idea. You have to screw a lot of people.
Man, he was... he had fever finger.
It just reinforces that he doesn't know what he's talking about.
I don't have a college education, and I wanted to make something of myself and take care of my family.
The dude traded some of the most iconic cards ever for a freaking Steph Curry patch card.
The hot girl, crazy girl matrix that you saw so long. And if she's way up here, then she's a marrying one. If she's not, she's the one you want to take. You got to find that happy medium in
but
there.
It's really, guess what, idiot? He didn't even play with it.
Look, man, save your money, dude.
You can suck my dick for blocking me.
In the South, you can say stuff like that, but at the end, you got to say, bless his heart.
You and I, we're much too intelligent for that ranting and raving.
It was the syndicate that bought it.
That's my story. I'm sticking to it. I have peace and love for everybody, especially all the guys in the hobby that collect different than me.
I'm saying bull crap.
And that's pretty much it.
And then it was over.
It is impossible not to have a blast with this panel, and this MidLife Live will not disappoint.
All right. First off, let's bring out Mr. Pokemon. Tony, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing awesome. Theo got all over me for that. Said, quit saying Pokemon.
Hey, when Tennessee is back in their winning ways, when our Tennessee Vols are back in our winning ways, you can say it however you want.
That's exactly right. And if we'd have beat Georgia, I'd have called them Pokey whatever. But yeah, I can't do it.
So
hey, Aaron, how you doing, buddy?
Pokemon, is it what? Pokemon?
Pokemon.
I don't know.
Pokemon.
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, you got to sound like you're from Jamaica.
Pokemon.
We are excited that Tony's got his voice back. I will be hitting the comments here in a second, but first, let's get the one and only King Petty to the stage as well.
There he is.
Look at
What do
Petty.
you say there, liver lips?
I say we are ready to roll on a Midlife Live number 9 in September. I can't believe this is the 9th one of these already. You guys joining me back-to-back months. I got to say, I've been open-minded to different crews, but during the last stream, after the last stream, a bunch of people reached out and they said, why change it? This is what we want. So I'm giving the people
They were
what the people
clamoring
want.
for it. So yeah, you got to come back strong. You only have 3 more left to do till the end of the year. Your contract's over.
Yeah.
Because you're going to go to that other. You have a new podcast now called. We were talking about it. Registration no good.
Yeah.
Surface problems.
We've been replaced, Betty. We've been replaced.
You guys will never be replaced.
Oh.
Yeah, so we've got a lot in store tonight. Got a lot of fun stuff. Again, I'm going to get the chat involved here in just a second. But first, I wanted to turn things over here to just a second to the 2 handsome gentlemen on the right of the screen there. They've got something big coming up that they would like to unveil. So, Tony and Petty, the floor is yours. What's going on?
Yeah, so I'm coming up on my 1-year anniversary, so I wanted to do something cool. And so in 2 weeks, we're going to do The Odd Couple live, and going to have some special guests. Might be a couple of guys on the screen right now, but also a lot of you guys have given me a lot of feedback about my baseball card song. And so I'm having my buddy David, who wrote the song. He's going to come on, tell the story behind it. And there might be like an MTV world premiere video of that song. So just stay tuned for that. It's going to be a lot of fun. So we'd love to have as many people that can show up. It'll be a lot of fun, just like tonight. We'll have a lot of companionship. So yeah, it'll be fun. Petty will be on his best behavior. Hopefully,
I'll be looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Do we have a topic yet, or are we going to wait and to see what happens to between now and then to stay on some hot topic that's going on, or what?
Yeah, that's my plan. There's going to be something come up between now and then. So somebody's going to piss somebody off, and then we'll have something to talk about.
There'll be something that we can do a VR on.
Yeah. Exactly.
And the people are already asking for wigs to be involved, because I hear when wigs get involved with you guys, things go crazy. So, you know.
I might have to do a wig. Yeah.
Might have to do a wig indeed.
Yeah.
So again, it's been covered up here, but Monday, October 6th at 9 p.m. Eastern will be the Odd Couple Live number 1. That I will not miss. So if you're out there, you're going to want to be a participant in that. Now, as always, what I do is I have questions preloaded that I've asked you guys a few days ago. And included in those questions are your responses, which you don't know the answers to, each other's. You know your own answers, I think. So let's go ahead. So maybe you don't know your own answers. It's possible that we forgot. So let's go ahead and first start off here with our first question. And this was a topic that came up last week. And Darren and I talked a little bit about in our video on Friday with Jake of Wax Pack Wisdom and Matt from Providence. And the question was, has the value of cards become too important? Have we gotten away from the hobby aspect and now we are too focused on values and the investment part of it? So the questions or the options for you guys were, has the values come too important? Yes or no? So how did we all answer? We all said no. So every one of us said no. Now, you seem surprised, Petty. What surprises you about that?
Well, we never 100% agree on anything. I think that's the first time ever.
So it must mean we're right.
Darren usually is different than us. That's what I was surprised by.
I mean, for me, the values have become very important ever since I hooked in with this card ladder. That's not any kind of endorsement or any kind of advertisement or anything for card ladder, but my God, they got the first thing you see under my collection is value, and so I don't think it's a dirty word anymore. And you know,
should it have ever been a dirty word to care about the value?
No, I mean, I think that to care about we all care about the values to some sense, but I think, like, for me, I never followed the values per se, like to add it all up and to wonder what this card's doing or look at it as an asset. And that's what Card Ladder brings to the table for me, as far as with value on every page, on every card, on everything. Profit, it'll tell you how much profit, how much it's changed every day. I don't know that they're all that accurate. I'd like to think that they're accurate, but
Now,
I also like to think that, Santa Claus is coming on December 25th.
I wanna say this though. It did cross my mind of saying yes, and here's why. Because I believe the modern hobby it's a cancer in the modern hobby. They only collect for value a lot of time. I'm not trying to bunch everybody into one big ball, because I had Brett McGrath on a while back. He's a modern guy, true collector. There's guys out there, Hoj, he talks about value a lot, but he's big into collecting what he loves. So, that's out there, but it is just so prevalent in the modern world. And, I don't know like what percentage of the hobby is modern versus vintage. I don't know. Like, I don't know if you could really
Vintage is
quantify
just
that.
a boutique. We're
Yeah,
just a
apparently by
boutique. I mean, it's
PCA,
just
PSA.
there's really nothing. It's all Pokemon right now everywhere.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
Pokemon all the time. I just got a report back from one of our buddies is in Vancouver, BC. He said it was the big show there was 75% Pokemon. Pokemon costumes, people in costumes, PSA booth jammed with just tons of people. A big, crowded Pokemon, about 3% to 5% vintage. So
Right.
that's why, SGC just got moved out of their building today. So they got moved down the hall into the broom closet where they
Where
can
the
put up slab.
boutiques reside. I
Yeah,
mean,
they
I'm a
they
boutique
changed their
channel.
address.
I'm a
PSA took
boutique.
over their address. They took over everything. They
Yeah.
put them in there with a rubber stamp and a fucking pair of scissors, expecting to grade cards now.
Well,
No
and
stamp.
one of the things that happened over the last few days is so PSA, they bought a video game grading company called WATA, WATA, and they've owned them for several years. And they
Right.
came out this week, this over the weekend, and they're rebranding the WATA label to PSA. So
Yeah.
now we
What a
have some
what a
experience.
shame. What a shame.
We have some experience of PSA buying other labels and then
Yeah.
rebranding them to their name. So let me throw out a couple of things. So someone we all love and respect deeply is Mr. Orlando, and he says there is too much focus on value. Yet all three of you guys are saying no. Darren, what's your response? Yeah.
So that's actually, I agree with Orlando that there's too much focus on value, but the question was, has the value of cards become too important? I would say no. So, and
Yeah.
the reason I say that is this: what the card's worth to me, I think it's not too important, right? Like I don't care. Like Petty said, he sees the ebbs and flows of the value of his collection, but you don't. It's not profit or loss until you actually pull the trigger on selling it or buying it, right? So it's from a value being important. No, it's not too important. But yes, I agree that there's tons of talk about it right now. So I agree with Orlando on that it's becoming a big talking point within the community, but I don't think like the true issue of like is value too important, the value of cars too important. I don't think it is.
So how about, I have a question for you, Tony. So how about what Dane is saying here? Dane from Classy Sports Card says, we have all cared about values. That's why the Beckett magazine is so popular. So it feels like this is not a new concept about caring about value.
Yeah. The question is, are we collecting value or are we collecting cards? I think that's a really big distinction there. I'm collecting cards and then they have a value, or are you collecting value and it happens to be cards? There's two different ways of looking at it. So, that's what I was saying earlier. I think the modern kind of leans toward I'm collecting value, but I don't know. I mean, it's just it's however you look at it. Now, I collect cards and I pay attention to the value. So the cards are the most important part of it, not the value. So I think it's where you put your emphasis.
I agree.
With this comment from Texas Rangers PC, he says too much focus on value because that's what gets the views on social. Yeah, I mean that's probably part of it. I think what gets the views on social is drama and people disagreeing and people talking about what other people are doing instead of talking about their own thoughts and their own cards and their own beliefs, which kind of brings us into the next question, which is kind of a perfect segue. It's almost like I did that on purpose. That it says we are spending too much time talking about other channels. Now, we'll look at how you guys responded in a second, but I feel personally over the last couple of months, there has been more content about content and less content about the hobby and the strategies and the cards and the what do we want and what do we not want. It feels like there's a lot of content about content, and that to me is a little concerning. I mean, I guess I talk about it some. So that was the question to you guys. Are we spending too much time talking about other channels? And the options were disagree, neutral, and agree. And I will say that we didn't all agree on this one. So let's see how you guys turned out on this. One of each. We have a circle gets a square in the middle. We've got the three in a row. So Petty, you're neutral on it. I know that you're a guy who loves content. Back in the the sports card radio days,
in the early days, back in WWWII.
Yeah, I mean,
way back.
I've always enjoyed listening to some of that stuff. Is kind of like, it is interesting at times, but you're neutral.
Yeah, I like talking about other channels. I mean, going from topic to topic, like this thing about values. It's pretty much been kicked to death. Everybody's got their own viewpoint on it, and you can go 100 different ways from it. But then there'll be something else next week, and one guy will come out with a good video, and then somebody will, kind of like pony on it a little. It's like a VR without the VR in the title, and that's okay. It gets people talking, and for the most part,
So
I think that's why it's neutral.
Yeah. So Darren, you say you agree with that. We're spending too much time talking about other channels. What's your thought? Oh, look at this. Hold on. Tim, love you, buddy.
Hey, yeah, he's out of
Timmy.
town.
Hey.
Timmy's here. Tony or Darren, tell us why you agree with that comment.
Because I mean, I like to watch videos about cards and about the history of cards and about different sets and seeing what people pick up, and that's what I enjoy. I when I'm on with you guys, I don't mind talking about whatever topic I want to talk about, but I think in general, if I look back, 3-4 years ago at the videos that people were making, they're primarily about collecting in the cards. And I think now there's a lot more about, what other people are doing and people getting offended. And instead of just turning off the video, they watch the whole thing. That way they could make another video about why it hurt their feelings. And I just, there's a little, it's a little much, right? Like if you don't like something, I've put videos on before. I'm like, oh wait, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. And I turn it off. I'm not going to wait till it's done and put a comment and say, this was dumb, because somebody put time and effort into making it, right? So good for them. They made it. And just because it means I don't like it doesn't mean that other people don't like it. Just, might not be my thing. And I think people spend too much time focusing on, it's almost, I get the impression sometimes that people will watch videos knowing they won't like it just so they have a reason to complain about it.
How about this comment from Rob? If you're not subscribed to Rob Cash Cards, check him out. Great guy. Darren, you're taking a drink, but where do you stand on this? Are smaller channels starting to just talk down and bash bigger channels? Is that something that's happening?
I don't know. I've seen some smaller channels that have done that, but I wouldn't necessarily say that, there's like a crisis of that, going over the top. But yeah, I have seen
go
that a little
ahead,
bit.
bash anybody, bash everybody. Who cares?
Yeah, I and to be honest with you, I think that, I think the smaller channels see the bigger channels do things that, that sometimes will, you could tell they're done to drive viewership. And I think the smaller channels might think of it as, look, like for me to get people viewing it, I'm going to have to make a video that people could view as controversial, because then more people will talk about it, and then people will view my channel because of it. So, it could just be a marketing thing too. I don't know, but I have a small channel, and I don't bash other people's channels.
A channel I love that just showed up in the chat, a big non-sport collector, not hoarder. Thanks for joining us. Tony, you've been quiet. You said that you disagree that we're not spending too much time talking about other channels. What are your thoughts on that, and your thoughts on Rob's comment about smaller channels bashing bigger channels?
So first off, I want to tell you, the way I read this was negative talk. I mean, we got John Wade Boggs fan who cut a video every now and then saying Greg says, and he's talked to you about that and got your blessing on that. And he'll talk about one of the questions you had, that week with the midlife community. And then he expands on his answer. So he's using you to bounce a video. And I think that's cool. So I think everybody thinks that's cool. I think what we're talking about here is negativity. And so just like the world we live in, I think it's a vocal minority. I think it's some unhappy people who are jealous, who are disenfranchised, who like to make stupid comments sometimes. And because it's because they're jealous, and they just run their freaking mouth. And so at that point, that stirs up a hornet's nest. And then everybody jumps on the bandwagon and everybody starts saying what they think. So it's a vocal minority that starts that crap instead of just talking about our hobby. So that's my opinion, but I don't think it's everybody's doing it. It's just a vocal minority, and somebody's going to say something stupid, and then everybody's going to get up in arms, and here we go. So it's just a cycle. It is what it is.
Hey, I mean, I love what you guys are saying. I love that we have passion all over the place. I know that at times things are directed my way, not directed my way. I mean, the guy who takes the most heat and gets the most daggers in his voodoo doll is Jeff Wilson. So I can't even imagine what it would feel like reading through comments of his videos.
He doesn't care. He doesn't read them.
You think he has a guy who reads them for him?
Yeah, he's not supposed to read them. I thought you knew that. You talked to T-Bag, didn't you? Didn't he tell you that?
I have talked to I wouldn't call him T-Bag.
Whatever.
I actually really like Teapot. I think Teapot does a good job. And we have had conversations, and I found him to be quite pleasant. But
he didn't tell you that about the social media?
He did not tell me. He did
Jeff
not tell me
answer.
that Jeff doesn't read his own comments.
He doesn't read any of the comments.
He didn't tell me that.
Respond until just recently. He did a couple times.
Yeah.
When he made some over the top stupid comment.
I think the change with Jeff for people who watch Jeff's channel that has happened over the last few months is that Jeff used to kind of ignore the drama. And he seems that recently he's maybe embraced the drama a little bit.
Well, he's doing a little better now, being henpecked by Michael Rubin and being set up there at the Cards HQ. He's much better off than he was. I just have a hard time not giving him a hard time when the guy comes out being an investor, and he basically lost $3 million in 3 years investing and telling everybody how to do it. And his whole system was a lie from the beginning, and everybody's all in with him with the graded grails and he's into one thing and he's into another, and the breaking, the World Series of this and that.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
so that's why he's just an easy target for whatever reason.
Again, when people take advice from someone that has no idea what they're talking about, it's not a good move. And he does a good job of being out there, so people that are new to the hobby that don't know any better see it and are like, oh great. Like I have a friend that actually texted me saying that he wanted to get back into collecting, and I said that's great. And he's like, have you ever seen Sports Card Investor? And I started laughing, and I said, please don't ever watch that again if you want to learn anything.
So I want to expand on what Tim just said, because that's my thoughts completely. The Bugsy collection. I do this. I do this to get away from drama. Like, that's what collecting cards is for me. That's why I watch YouTube videos all day. When I'm at work and I got a minute and I'm between whatever I'm doing, I'll see what's on Instagram, see what cards people posted. I escape all the drama and the bull crap by looking at card stuff. And so when people want to start a bunch of crap with people and it just turns into a big drama fest, that's a huge turnoff for me. That's why I don't do those videos. I don't care. I'm doing me. You can do you. If I don't like you, I'll just turn it off and then I'll talk trash about you behind your back. I'm not going to do a video.
Well, yeah, I mean, totally true. I absolutely, this is my escape. Like, this 100% is my hobby and that's what a hobby should be. I mean, I golf at times. I used to golf a lot more than I have been recently. And I do that. I go out on the golf course so that I'm thinking about that instead of thinking about work stuff. I mean, we have time. My week last week at work was crazy. I mean, I would tell you guys some of the stuff that went down, except I think that I would violate clauses in my contract. So I'm not going to. But it was a wild week last week at work. And so when I get home, the last thing I want to do is watch a video where somebody's being bashed or bashing me or what. It's just not my thing. So I want to just enjoy my time talking about the hobby. And at times, sure, we're going to disagree. I'm totally okay with disagreement. I'm totally okay with
I need
debate.
at least one day with the sports professor or something negative where I can hear about breaking and values and mystery packs and all the people over there that won't get out.
Yeah, it's like the what's the show where they all sit around and talk about the one where the one with all the rich wives. What's it called? The wives of the OC or something.
Yeah,
What's
from all
The
over
housewives, the real
housewives,
housewives.
the Real Housewives. And then they
Yeah.
all go on that after dark show and they all sit around and they all talk trash. Like I'm good. I don't need that.
Yeah.
Yes, I do want to shout that out. Thank you, Orlando. We have 123 people in the chat right now. As always, you guys make this the most fun. Right now, the chat is absolutely on fire. I have a fun announcement, which I will share in the near future about our next live stream, our next MidLife Live. I'm going to add a little twist in there that I think is going to be fun, especially for the chat, which I will share here soon. But just a little tease for y'all. So the next question I have, though, is the sports card hobby in a bubble. Now, the reason this came up, a couple of reasons why this came up is, I talked about it a little bit last week. It came up when I was on with Hobby Hotline with Junk Wax Hero and Adam Splendid Sports and Dr. Beckett. And Dr. Beckett had some interesting thoughts on this. And again, Hobby Hotline now found on the For Collectors Network. Check out For Collectors if you're not subscribed to them, so you can see the hobby hotlines, among other things. And so the questions were, or the options were, are sports cards in a bubble? The options were yes, some areas, but not all, no, and I like bubble gum. Those were the four choices. So how did we respond? Everyone said again. Some areas. So, Petty, what are the areas...
So
Petty, what are the areas that are in a bubble?
One again. We're all in the same boat. This is no fun.
What are the areas what are the areas, Petty, that we are in a bubble?
Well, the one area, there's a ton of liquidity out there, but I don't know that we're definitely in a bubble with high price stuff. Yeah, or you can call it what you want. It's on its way up. So it could be either in a bubble. Is it a bubble? People may say it's it's going right to the moon. Other people might say it's a bubble. But like from what I could see on regular cards out there and with their stuff, they seem to be selling, right around comps or a little bit less here and there. And the expensive stuff keeps going up. And so whatever, that is to our hobby, that's the way it's going. And I don't know. I don't know what else to tell you. Is it in a bubble? Who knows?
tell me, Darren, what areas of the hobby do you think there might be a bubble, and other areas you think there aren't?
I mean, for me personally, I think that, and I've had this issue for the last couple of years. Whatever stuff I decide I'm ready to buy usually becomes a bubble, which is a pain in the ass. But I think, kind of like Petty said, right? Iconic stuff is in a bubble. I've noticed some of the more high-end stuff is in a bubble. I think there's a huge bubble with Kobe Jordan dual logo auto patch cards right now. But there's other stuff too, right? Like I think a lot of
Mookie.
I think there's quite a few. There's T206 cards that I was looking at that have come down in price. I think that there's a lot of stuff from like the 60s and 70s that have come down in price. So, that's why I said just some areas, because, some stuff I still look at and I'm like, dang, when is that going to come down? Other stuff I'm like, oh, yeah, that's a good deal. So a little of this, a little of that.
Well, Willie Mays has come down a little bit.
Tony, do you think oddball cards are in a bubble?
I don't know whether they're in a bubble or just people are kind of discovering them a little bit more, and it's something different, off the beaten path than what they're used to, and it's kind of drawing eyeballs. Now the question is, the more eyeballs it draws, once everybody sees that, are they going to move on to the next thing? I don't know. So that kind of defines a bubble, right? So, what I think is the modern, like they just said, the patch cards and the Jordans and the Kobe's, big time bubble. The high end vintage stuff, big time bubble. But I don't have a crystal ball. Maybe that's just where it's going and where it's going to stay. To me, a bubble is something that's going to pop. And if it stays where it's at, then that's not really a bubble. That's just, the tide's rising. So,
yeah, I agree with Tony, right? Like if oddball cards or unique cards or whatever you want to call them, if less people were looking at them and now more people have eyes on them and the prices are going up, it doesn't necessarily mean they're in the bubble. It might just mean that their prices are now coming to like the correct equilibrium and they were undervalued in the past.
Yeah. So Theo, what he just said, the biggest bubble is on card vintage autos. Look, I've been preaching for the last few years since I got into that.
He's messing with you.
I know that, but I'm just saying those are going up. And
but they were in a bubble 2 years ago. So is it still a bubble or is it still going
I know. I think that is one of the things that's going to go up more than anything in the vintage world is the on-card vintage auto stuff.
Yeah.
People, just like the oddball cards, they like those because it's a scarcity, quotient there. And they're realizing that the sign stuff adds another little level of scarcity, and it's the chase, and that's what's fun about it.
So. I want to say a couple of things. I listened to Dr. Beckett this morning on his latest drop, and he was talking about pricing, and he said that historically demand is the biggest it has the biggest influence on price, which I thought was interesting. I also want to circle back, though. I don't think that the chat gave Jake enough love for his Moops comment. If you're a Seinfeld fan, you know that this comes from the Bubble Boy episode where they were playing Trivial Pursuit. But let's keep moving on. Rick is really upset that we're not talking about cards yet. Rick, I understand. We've got Dan talking about the bubble of Benny Koff cards, even though no one knows who that is. Let's go ahead and take a look at the next question, which is, in the next 6 months, I plan to. Now, we've talked about this a little bit before, but I think it's an interesting thing to come back to because it tells us, where are you right now with your confidence in what's happening in the market. And so the options here were, in the next 6 months, I plan to buy less than normal, buy the same as normal, or buy more than normal. And let's see how you guys did it. Darren ghosted us on this one. He did not respond.
I responded.
No, you did not respond. I could
pull open. Your thing's broken. I put buy the same as normal.
Broken? I will pull up. I will literally, don't call me out, because I will pull it up and I will show the blank. What would you have answered, Darren?
Buy the same as normal. Put my face in there. I agree with Tony.
Same as normal. He demands. Okay. He demands to see his face in there.
So, Petty, you said less than normal. Why is that?
Yeah. Well, because I don't have a whole lot left on my list. I've been trying to cut it down, to 800 cards. I realized I might have had 850, and then I got to go back to the well to buy the 10 that I sold that I want back. That adds to my list. So I think that I'm just waiting to get another big card. That's pretty much it. I mean, I can't be buying a big card every month, but I can buy one every 6 months,
Is that
every
what you
four
wanted?
months.
Is
There
that
we
what you
go.
wanted?
You
Yeah,
corrected the
that's what I
glitch.
want to do. I mean, it's pretty. There you go. Yeah, you got Durwood right in there. Yeah, so that's really where I stand on it. I plan on just like tightening up my collection a little, going through the bottom, shaving off the bottom. Get rid of the low-lying fruit that's just sticking around there, irritating me,
Yeah.
and let's try to sell some more
We have
and try to.
co-star of Sports Cards Live, Joe Perot,
Hey,
talking
Joe,
about
my
my
friend.
thing being broken. Trust me, if I had a nickel for every time I heard that my thing was broken
Oh, you
at
poor
home,
guy.
yeah, I know.
There's a
That's one
feel
thing
for that.
I
never
know. I've
heard
heard. I need to look into that. Petty, get me a number later.
that.
So Darren and Tony, you say the same as normal. So even though there might be some bubbles out there, it's not affecting what you're doing.
No,
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm still trying to find things at a value price. I'm not trying to, set new comps every time I buy something. But
Not every time, but sometimes we do.
yeah,
And I'm not
sometimes
afraid.
I've
I'm
done
not
that in the
afraid to
last
do. I'm
6 months.
definitely. I've always noticed that, even from 10, 15 years ago, when a lot of times I would set the highest price. It always seems.
Yeah, I'm not
And
planning on
sometimes I
cards
do,
going
but
down in
sometimes I
value.
don't. Sometimes I don't. So it's just an ebb and flow. It's just all mixed in,
Mhm.
Yeah,
into your beautiful portfolio with your daily change. What else does this thing do?
We got
What else
Matt
can
of the
you?
Card Story. He's pulling
Total
my quote
investment.
from my video today. If you haven't heard it yet, I caught myself midstream. Yeah. So hey, okay, let's go to the next thing because people are mad at me. So let's keep moving.
Okay.
Here's a question I find will be one I really want to probe. Here I
We're
go.
buzzing through these questions. Who wrote these things?
No. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. We got lots to talk. We could just sit around and BS for a long time. So my question for this next one is, if you could only collect 2 players for the next 2 years, who would you collect? Now, to me, this tells a little bit about your personality, right? And are you kind of a safer collector, or are you going all in on Skeens and whoever the hot prospects are? Yeah.
Jack Caglione.
Yeah. Or are you more conservative? So I thought this was a really interesting one. And this was my question this morning to all of MidLife Nation, and saying, hey, for next week, who are the 2 people that you are most planning on collecting? If you can only collect 2, who are the 2 that you'd most want to collect? So we're going to start with Darren. Darren said Ty Cobb and Joe DiMaggio because he's doing runs of both. So if you could, I mean, here's the concern I have, and this is where I'm going to push back on you, Darren. You have a lot of Cobb and you have a lot of DiMaggio. So if for the next 2 years you could only buy those guys, but you have a ton of their cards, that could be a fairly uneventful next 2 years, couldn't it?
No, there's a lot.
It could be 3 weeks.
There's a lot of Cobb cards that I don't have, that are really rare, that are pretty expensive, that would take a while to save up for, or even to find them. So Cobb, no, I don't think Cobb would be an issue. DiMaggio, I'm getting pretty close to his playing days are on, but the 4 cards I still need are all pretty big. So yeah, I mean, maybe if I only collected those 2 guys, it'd be kind of I wouldn't say it's slow. I'd be getting some pretty sweet stuff, but just I'd be getting fewer cards because
There's always beautiful Cobbs out there that can be, run you some dough to get 3 or 4 of those in a year.
Yeah, exactly.
But he's always
there's
on
Cobb
list.
cards. There's even a couple DiMaggio cards where if I bought one, it would be my entire budget for the year.
Oh, there's four. Well, go ahead. Let's see what else I said. What else you said? Who's next?
So next
I don't wanna-
person is
That's
Petty.
me.
So Petty
Yeah.
has a long one. So let me read the whole thing in case
All
people are
right.
just listening. He says, Shoelace, Joe Jackson, and the Babe. I have a few holes to fill with a long way to go and a short time to get there. But I wouldn't sleep on Hannes, Cobb, Gehrig, Mantle, J-Rob, Mays, Clementine, Aaron, Joe D, Satchmo, or Teddy Ballgame. So you pretty much said everybody.
Everybody.
Where's
They're
Barry
all
Bonds? I mean, dang,
Let's
throw him in
go.
there.
Now, but Shoeless Joe and the Babe were your two choices. I mean,
Yeah.
there aren't a ton of Shoeless Joe cards.
They're expensive. I was
And
like,
they're-
only think out maybe one a year, maybe or two.
So you just said a few minutes ago, Petty, that you are kind of cleaning, doing some spring cleaning, kind of cutting off some dead ends.
I'm like Eminem. I'm cleaning out my closet.
And so you're cleaning out your closet, you're sending stuff into four honest corners, right?
Very honest. Boy, that was the whole experience. I guess I have to wait a while to get paid, but boy, prices were low.
Oh,
Hey,
really?
save that for the next Odd Couple. Don't.
Okay. Well, they were
So
terrible.
So why Shoeless Joe? Are you at the point where
Yeah.
you're saying you're in a massive consolidation to the two most expensive players? Is that what's happening?
Yeah, it's what it's been. I mean, I haven't been consolidating until just recently, or trying to get a little, like I said, carve off the bottom a little bit, carve some layers, just like I would do with my boiler. Carve a couple of layers and try to create some more bulk.
Bulk, but you're not going to get bulk.
Well, bulk, I'm talking about value, bulk value. I want to put it all into one little card.
Now, I'm curious to those of you in the chat, because the chat are dropping just all sorts of big names, and a lot of people are saying Ruth. And heck, I would love to just collect Ruth cards for the next 2 years. But I'm just a teacher.
Maybe you should. Well, then you'd collect one card.
No. I would buy one card.
Buy one card a year.
Or buy two. You could buy probably a nice couple of Gaudy Ruths in 1 year. If that's all you set your mind out to do, buy two of them. You spend that much money in
Is that what you, because Matt from the card story was giving me crap earlier saying I ask the questions and I share your guys' responses, but I never actually answer the questions, which maybe that's a twist that I could include in the future. I think that's a good point that I don't answer them. So the problem is I answer them, but I've already seen your guys' answers. So that doesn't really seem fair. But that said, like, is that something that you think for a guy in kind of my collecting tier, Petty, that you think I should genuinely consider? Is that advice that you would give?
It all depends on how bad you wanted one of those cards now.
I would say if you're going to do that, I mean, based on our last video, save up for the Jackie Robinson Leaf.
Yeah, you're saving for that Leaf Jackie Robinson.
Yeah.
Like that would be a card that's probably going to run almost your whole yearly budget. But look, you have your hands into everything now. You have several major advertisers. You've got a new show with one of the biggest guys out there.
Get massive side hustle cash coming in. I agree with Orlando though.
So,
I saw you on a billboard just here in Nashville this week.
It's not
a billboard, huh?
Yeah. But it's starting, it's starting to, you're filling the funnel at the top. And soon it'll work its way down into the card fund. And you'll get maybe, might not be a lot, but it'll be to add with what you're spending. Yeah, definitely within reach. Mm-hmm. Plus you've got stuff to sell.
What advice would you get? I mean, Tony, you know me pretty well. And I've been clicking on Joe Perot a lot. He's firing them off in the chat. I love it. But Joe and I talk a couple of times a week on the phone. And when we talk, he is right now, and I'm not going to air his whole situation, but we've been talking a lot about saving up for a big card. And I basically challenged him because he loves buying stuff just like the rest of us. And I was like, you can't save, Perot. Come on. And he's like, just to prove me wrong, I think he is currently working on saving for a bigger card. And I find that to be a concept that I'm jealous of. Like, I'm jealous that he is saving up right now, even though I'm the one who gave him crap that made him kind of think about doing it.
You've done it,
You
and
just talked about how you have a card account, a Grail
Yeah,
account,
you
and now a
wanted to
Clemente account. We
open
talking about
up
you
a
don't save
fourth
up for
account.
cards.
You
You got
wanted to
three
have a
different
fourth
card
ac-
savings
Maybe
accounts.
I
you
have.
should
I
have a
said I
fifth
have.
account.
I said I had 2 accounts. I should add a third account. is
You
what
haven't
I
Why
opened
said.
the
not have
Clemente
5
one yet?
accounts?
It's been a week.
Have
What
5
have you
accounts.
been
One for
doing?
your.
Clemente, you mean
Or
the Jackie
Clemente, sorry, I
account?
was thinking I was Theo just commented, so
It could be like a Christmas club. Just put it in every month.
right. Sorry, the Jackie
Did
Robinson
you
Leap
close up
account.
the
You
pirate
haven't opened
account
that up
already?
yet?
You could take the pirate account funds
Oh,
and put it in a Jackie account.
You
Yes.
take the funds,
I'm such
you
an
put it
idiot.
in the sleeve.
I'm such an idiot. What I just did was I sent a whole bunch of cards and PSA holders to SGC just so they would look the same,
mean,
and
what
paid
did
for a
you
bunch
ha-
of plastic.
Did
I
you
mean,
put
I'm an
the
idiot.
You got definitely rocks for brains, that's for sure.
I think it's a good
But
move.
you like
I
the
think
way,
what you need
like
to
the
do,
way they
Greg,
look, though.
is you need to buy another boat, hold it for a year, sell it for a profit, use that money, and
How
buy
do
the
you
Jackie
buy a
Robinson.
boat? How does anybody buy a boat?
This was
Make
this
money
Greg
was
on
makes
10
money
years
on
You
ago.
boats.
lose your
Petty.
ass
He's
on
the only
going off
person I've
the
ever heard of that's done this.
He's
But
the
Greg
only
makes
guy
money
I
on
ever
boats.
heard that had a
It's an
boat.
old mill, Joe. It's not a cycle. If it was a cycle, it would be a whole different
Your
category.
red cycle.
All right,
Your
now
bicycle.
that's actually what Christian Missouri is saying. Is I know a lot of people have like a Christmas Club account
Yeah.
where it pulls a little bit out each month and then saves it. I mean, I don't know.
Hey, I like it. The more accounts, the merrier. I mean, you might as well have I like to have 100 accounts if I could.
All right,
bit
let's take
here,
a
like
look.
a little squirrel.
Let's take a look at what Tony said. Tony said Jackie Robinson and Babe Ruth. So tell us your reasoning. I think we can all kind of assume. Tell us our reasoning behind that.
Well, I mean, so I've got Jackie's run, right? But there's the Jackie Robinson set of 13 that cards come up every now and then. I'd love to add some of those. I'd like to add some more signed ones. I know some are coming up. And if I weren't buying just the regular cards here and there and everywhere to get them, and I was forced to look, I just got to focus on these 2 guys, I could add some pretty nice cards over a year, and as far as my collection goes, I've only got 2 Babe Ruth cards. So this year I made a goal in, like a New Year's goal thing that I was going to add. This was going to be the year of Babe Ruth, and I have added 1 Babe Ruth card this year. So I haven't done that.
Your Babe Ruth, so by doing that, so that's good.
Yeah,
It'd be
but
perfect then for you.
that's what I'm saying. I need to add some Babe Ruth, but yeah, I need to add some of the bond breads. It would also give me, more funds to go for some of those signed Jackie cards that I want to do. So yeah, best wishes. If it has best wishes,
Babe Ruth,
I'm in. So that's it.
Yeah, and the movie The Graduate taught me that plastics is the future. So I think spending all that money on SGC plastic was a smart move.
You weren't even born when that movie came out.
No, but I watched it. It's got great music, and who doesn't like Dustin Hoffman?
Yeah.
I think I only Ruth I own is the candy bar. So I think those are all great choices. Most of those names you guys just mentioned would result for me to be a massive consolidation movement of many fewer cards than I have been collecting, but I'm open to that. I'm really genuinely open to changing what I'm doing and how I'm doing, and I'm always reevaluating that. I think we all are constantly thinking, well, should I do this or should I do that, or should I wait, or should I buy a bunch of smalls, or should I get a larger card? There's not a wrong way to do the hobby, and it's also okay to change your mind. So that's another piece of it. Now,
I see Mangini's got a bunch of it in his portfolio. He's a big believer in dollar cost averaging baseball cards. He's the one that taught me all about assets.
Mangini is?
Yeah. He's the cards are assets.
I've been dollar cost averaging my retirement account for about
Yes, and we've all
25
been doing
years.
that. If you've been buying baseball cards for the last 5 years, ebb and flow, it's going to go up and down the marketplace, and you're buying whatever. It's all part of the big plan.
Buy cases of
Potential,
Pokemon.
potential
Pokemon,
profit.
yeah.
That's what it's all about. Potential profit and potential ROI.
I was listening this morning on the way to work. I was listening to Dr. Beckett's most recent podcast, which I mentioned earlier. Which my favorite part was at the end when he shouted out Mookie. So that made it extra special. And I even called Mookie and I said, Mookie, you got to listen to Dr. Beckett. He shouts you out. There was a comment that he made in there that
He
is a
loves
new.
Mookie.
Who doesn't love Mookie?
Well, I know.
I mean, you show me someone who doesn't love Mookie, and I'll show you someone that I don't love.
And they probably kill their pets.
I know.
All right. So he said the following, which I thought was really interesting. And I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this. So here we go.
I think on the resale value versus personal value, for most people, your cards will eventually be sold, whether they're sold by you or by your estate. And when they are, they will go for the going rate. Here's my insight. I believe that eye appeal will be increasingly important over the years. So if it's 10 years from now, if you overpaid for a 4 that looks like a 5, it may not be so much that you overpaid. So the resale value may not be a problem. And frankly, sometimes you can get it regraded. There may be other grading systems or companies that come in that allow you to reslab something and get a higher number if that's really still important.
So he's basically saying there that he thinks the eye appeal thing is that snowball is going to continue to grow and going to become a bigger piece of the hobby. But throughout the podcast, he talks about how it's always been important. It's not like it's a new thing. He even said at the very beginning, eye appeal mattered when he started in the hobby, but he thinks it's going to increase in importance moving forward. So my question that I have for you guys, because I did a video a couple weeks ago, and I talked about I want to buy undergraded cards at the grade number. And then when I sell them, I don't want to sell them unless I get over the comp because they're too nice for that comp. So, and a lot of people are like, oh, you want to have your cake and eat it too. And I'm like, that's exactly right. That's exactly what I want. And what Dylan has been beating the drum over for the past couple of years is he's just buying super high eye appeal cards because even though he's paying over comp right now, he thinks in the long run, it's going to pay out tenfold. So I guess my question that I have for you guys is the eye appeal movement going to result in significantly higher resale values in the future? Is my concern from that episode a couple of weeks ago where I said, I don't want to sell any of my stuff down the road because I'll have to sell it at the grade instead of sell it at what it's really all about. Is that going to not come to fruition? Is Dr. Beckett right? So let's start with you, Darren. What are your thoughts on this question?
Yeah, I think that eye appeal is gonna. Yeah, I think eye appeal results in higher resale values, but I think it always sort of has, right? I mean, I remember going to shows a while ago where the dealer's like, yeah, it looks better than the grade, so I'm asking more money. But yeah, I think that if you're buying a card, with the hopes of selling it for more money later, I think that a good eye appeal is going to be better than something that is, a higher grade that doesn't look as good, right? It's like, oh, it's got sharp corners, but it's off centered, or it's, diamond cut, or, that there's a print line through it. I think that, if a card looks good, that's what people want to buy, right? They're not going to, I don't know, a lot of people will say, hey, I'd rather have an 8 with a print line through the guy's face than a 5 that doesn't, right? So yeah, I agree with Dr. Beckett. I also agree with the point you made earlier that he said of demand is what's driving the value right now, right? I mean, I think that's the case most of the time, right? It's like, hey, this card's super rare of somebody nobody wants. This card's not that expensive, as opposed to something that's not that rare, like a 52 Topps mantle that everybody wants, and it's really expensive. So I would agree with him on that 100%.
first appearance that I've seen tonight from Dean Goodman in West 238th. He has a famous brother on the screen as well. Tony, what are your thoughts on this topic?
So there's two things at play here. One, we're talking about resale, right? So it depends on how you're reselling it. If you're going to Ash and you're trying to convince him that this 4 should sell for a 6, he's going to laugh in your face because he's going to buy it at a 4 and then he's going to discount it 10, 15, 20%. So he has some resale value in there. So if you're trying to sell them to dealers, or if you're putting it on eBay at what you think it's worth as a buy it now option, you're going to be really disappointed. But if you put it in an auction or something like that, or put it on an auction on eBay, you might come out pretty good, because then the community is going to decide what that card is worth. So I think that could be the case there. But here's the other thing coming into play. If we're talking about far down into the future, who's going to drive the future? It's the people who are in modern right now that are going to come into this community of vintage, who are going to start liking history, and they're going to start digging vintage cards, hopefully. What is driving their minds? It's all about grades. To them to talk about eye appeal, when I talk to Brett McGrath about that blows his mind. Like, he can't comprehend. He thinks it's really cool that we care about that, but that is something that confuses them as much as a one-of-one black finite confuses me. I don't know what the black and the purple and the blue and the reds and the oranges, I don't know what all that crap means, but they know it like this. So when they move into this realm, are they going to value eye appeal? Or are they going to be looking at that number on the slab, just like they did with their LeBron Jameses and their Michael Jordans and their Paul Skeens? I don't know. It could balance out a little bit.
Does Mangini answer that right there, where he says eye appeal is only for people who collect cards and not trade cards and flip cards and move cards and
that's what I'm talking about.
Slabs?
Well, then can somebody explain to me then how it is that we're supposed to pay 2 grades higher for like for a 4 because it looks so much like a 6? We're supposed to pay 6 prices for that.
Well, I asked Ash, speaking of Ash, at the 2024 Strongsville show. It was the first time I ever met him in person. And he was buying a bunch of stuff, and he had all sorts of stuff that he's like, hey, these are the things I just picked up. And I asked him point blank, when you buy a card, does the eye appeal matter or does the grade matter? And he said, I comp the grade. That's what Ash said. Now, that was a year and a half ago. So things may have changed for Ash.
He's still there.
He does somewhat, but he knows when he has a card that's centered and he jacks it up that much.
You go to Howard Chass or you go to Leighton Shelton, you go to any of them dudes, they ain't giving you the price for the eye appeal of the card.
They're not going to give it to you either way.
They'll ask for it when they sell it, though.
Yeah, right. I agree.
Like I mentioned before, it's the same way with coins.
And I'm not making fun of them or saying anything bad. That's what they do.
Yeah, no, that's what they have to do as dealers. And if you want to try to maximize your sales price, you're certainly going to get people in a bidding war. If the market goes down at all, or if the bubble pops, your good eye appeal stuff is always going to sell no matter what. If you have stuff that's off-centered, you're not going to get any amount for it. But if you want to sell during a stiff downturn, that's what'll happen. Your nicer stuff will sell for value or a little bit higher.
Yeah,
so the trick is to find one that looks like a 6 and still pay just a little bit of a premium on a 4. So there's a happy medium there for almost any one of those buys. If you're buying 2s, 3s, or 4s, at least, and I'm not against it anymore at all. I enjoy it, and it is harder to find those cards in 4s and 3s, and I mean, why? But then I can't pay 6 prices, or I could just buy a 6, but it has to look like a 6.
Yeah. I mean, Dylan said, I love dealers who comp grades. Yeah, when they're selling them. I mean, they don't do it when they buy them.
Well, there's always a disagreement on how much
Yeah,
they're worth.
I think that I think that emoji. I'm not sure. I think that emoji is the
he's
being
laughing
sarcastic
too.
emoji.
Yeah.
That's great.
Well, I think he's also saying because some do when they sell.
Yeah.
So if there's a card, there's a dealer in my area who comps the card, the grade, not the card. And my dad and myself at times as well will buy things from him because it's like, yeah, that's the comp, but that's not the comp for that card. Like
Right.
that, there are dealers who actually do that, and some have moved into well, not every 4 is a 4, but there are still some out there
and that's
that don't.
changing. That's going to change. I mean, they can't do that forever.
No, they can't do that forever, or else all the other dealers will go buy their stuff and then jack it up 25% at their table.
I mean,
right?
they have to acquire it somewhere too. They're buying
Right.
it from everyday people or
Well,
whatever.
Well, and when I was talking to a lot of dealers at the card show I was at this weekend, that was one of my questions is, how are you guys sourcing stuff still? Where are you getting your inventory? And they're like, we can't get it. All the good stuff is like not available. And the only stuff that's available is dog crap. And it's like, I don't know when some of these guys, and that's one of the reasons, because they were asking me, they were like, when you go to like these big shows, when you go to the Strongsville and the National, how does Ash have that kind of inventory? I go, Ash pays 80%. And they're like, he pays 80%. And I go, yeah. And that's why he gets good stuff, is because when people want to sell, they go, I could sell it on eBay, get 100%, and then give eBay 15%. Or I could just get cash and lose 5% and be done with it. And so they just sell it to Ash, and then Ash, puts it probably at 110%. And then he ends up making a 20-25% margin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You've got to find and that's what I think some of the dealers that aren't sourcing things. I mean, we see Garrett does his videos, ballpark memories. Great guy.
He's actively buying at shows like crazy too. I mean,
he runs strong.
He runs the room. He made me a great offer for that maze I had at the National. Right out of the gate, that
Ash does that, but Ash does things too, where he'll take stuff on cash trade deals, and a lot of guys won't do that.
He's definitely
he'll take a check from Petty.
Oh, he'll take a check from anybody. Believe me.
I mean, I looked at Orlando. So Orlando just made this comment in the chat. He said, "I'll sell to dealers. They pay for the grade, not the card." So
that's good.
Orlando last year was selling some stuff, and he was showing what he was selling on his channel. And then he went to a card show, and one of the cards was a high grade Bob Gibson rookie. I want to say it was like a 7. And Orlando, correct me if I'm wrong. And it was about 80-20 centered, maybe, but it was still a 7, and it might have been an 8.
I think it was an 8.
Is it? Tell us if it was a 7 or an 8, Orlando, in the chat. But he sold it for a lot because he found a dealer that paid for the number. But a lot of collectors who are going to pay that much money, it's a lot of money for a high grade Bob Gibson rookie, they don't want one that's 80-20. So if you find a dealer that'll pay you for the grade and not pay you for the eye appeal, then that's who you sell to. Orlando's saying it was a PSA 8.
Yeah, right.
I mean, and it was razor sharp. It was a pack fresh card, but it was off center, and he never would have gotten probably the same amount. And if he would have, again, he's got to pay all those seller fees and all that kind of stuff. So I think that was absolutely the right move.
He turned that into a bunch of nice cards too.
Yeah, he did. Orlando knows what he's doing.
Oh yeah, he's been around for a little while. So High Pop Professor's in the house. I don't know if I shouted him out earlier or not. My head's all over the place, but Ham was in the house. Thanks, Michael Ham. Thanks for showing up. There, a bunch of people are showing out tonight. We got 138 people in the chat.
That's pretty good.
And we are going head to head with Monday Night Football, which, I mean, come on, it's the Lions against the Ravens. So
if the ball grown, we'd have nobody watching.
Well, who's winning? I mean, I can't believe we're missing that.
We got Matt. So my biggest complaint with Matt, the card
Look at
story,
this.
is that he doesn't put out enough videos. What the
Not
heck,
anymore,
dude?
but what did he say here? So
He
let's go
says
over
traded
this.
15 eights to Ash in Strongsville to get a 52 tops Matthews. Had to add a little cash in too, but still happy and have replaced 13 of the 15 at much lower grades.
Right.
So
But
he
he
downgraded cards.
But the cards
There
he
you go.
bought that he reestablished with are probably nicer in lower grades.
And he collects a lot of Braves, and so he got a big card in the Eddie Matthews, the last card in the 52 top set. I mean, that's a way to do it.
That was a big card for him.
Yeah, High Pop had a MidLife shirt on at the Philly show.
That's dedication.
Yeah, I saw a couple of pictures of that. He was the best looking guy in the room as far as I saw.
You got a cut of that shirt too, didn't you? See, that goes in your Jackie Robinson.
No. I don't get a single cut of that. All proceeds of MidLife apparel goes directly to Mr. Reindeer Studios. I don't get a dime, not a dime. No, I was being serious. Best dressed guy in the room. What was that?
What did Jason say there? You had that comment up?
No, his comment was funny.
Yeah.
Wait, now I'm confused. I need to buy for eye appeal and sell for the grade. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you got to do.
Yeah, it's a vicious cycle out there.
You take your high graded stuff that looks overgraded and you sell that to the dealers, and you don't try to sell it on eBay because nobody wants it.
They would lead you along to believe that it's not that easy. Just to buy and sell, make millions.
Yeah.
They're not that much, Perot. They're only like $20 or something. And but make sure, I will say that MidLife shirts are they run a little small. So add one size to it. Otherwise it'll be like, a sausage casing. Your wife's married lower grades. There's no doubt about that.
I'm just glad my wife hasn't gone for higher eye appeal than me.
Me too. God.
So where that brings us, we're an hour and 6 minutes in. My goal is always to go about 90 minutes. So we have about 25 minutes to go if we want to go that long.
That's a lot.
But my questions are through. So at this point, I'm turning it over to the chat if there's anything that they want to talk about, unless Petty has some spur in his saddle that he wants to let out. I don't know.
I don't have any bones to pick with anybody. We've talked a little bit earlier about the mystery packs though, and how that's driving the market. That's driving the bubble. How these repack companies are making millions and millions right now. And people can't get enough of them, and it's such a ripoff on all ends with PSA involved
But is that cards? Is repacking cards, or is that?
I don't know.
Well, cards are the medium. Cards are the medium, but is that actual card collecting and card buying and selling, or is that just gambling? Which is disguised. It's
not even gambling. I mean, what is it that you're gambling on? So these guys go around and they buy all these cards up, the shit that nobody wants and everybody's selling. They buy it pennies. Maybe they pay the guy 90%. Who's to say that he puts this case hit? You won this piece of shit, and it's worth $400 on the PSA estimator. You're going to try to sell that thing unless you're online and you've got a lever like a fucking monkey at the. What is it? Who's the guy? Milgram experiment. You keep buzzing to try to get your fix, and you basically got nothing. You got $100 card that they said was a $400 card that guy couldn't sell for $100. Really, it's probably $80. I mean, so what are you doing with all this money? Why are people so infatuated with making other people rich? That's what I would can't figure out.
And I agree with Petty too, right? Because gambling, I mean, usually gambling, you have, at least if you know what you're doing, you have an understanding of the odds, right? And there's no concept of that with repacks, right? So it's like, yeah, it's not gambling. Gambling's less risky than repacks.
Some repackers are giving you the odds. They're telling you what's in there. Apparently, I've heard. I haven't tried it.
They tell you, but then the stuff's gone or it's not gone, and they pull it off.
Right.
Who's holding them accountable?
And you
right.
you got kaboomies, downtownies, They're everywhere.
All right, let's
I
go
heard
to
those downtown.
let's go to Perot's question. He says, "How does it?" And again, I don't know if I'm out of line, but I know that Joe has been kind of saving up a little bit, and he's thinking about making a splash. And so he's asking your guys' opinion of 3 vintage card collectors. How do you all feel about the T206 set versus the various caramel issues like the E95s, or there's a bunch of them we know out there? Is one more interesting or important than the other? Darren, yeah, go ahead.
Personally, I think that the T206s are probably, in my opinion, more important, but I think the caramels are definitely more interesting. I mean, I like the T206. The reason I say that is the T206 set is, it's one of the most iconic sets in the hobby, but you could pretty much always pick up T206 cards. There aren't a lot that are like really, obviously there are a few, but they're out of most people's budgets. But for the most part, you could pick up T206 cards fairly easily, versus some of those caramel cards are pretty rare, and especially if you find them with good eye appeal. So I think that, to me, they're more interesting. But I would say that, yeah, the T206 set's one of them. It's probably that and the Gaddy set's the most important, in my opinion.
Well, and that's where I stand on it. Is the T206 set is much more plentiful. Those cards are not particularly rare. If you go on eBay right now and type in T206, there's going to be hundreds and hundreds of listings. If you go to some of these caramel sets like the E95s, they are going to be few and far between. So from a scarcity point of view, the caramel are much more scarce, but the T206s are more recognizable and more iconic. Mm-hmm. So if somebody were going to make a splash, it's sort of, are you going to go for the rarer card, the less populated card, or the one that people would see it and go, I know that card, that's a cool card? That's kind of the question, or to me, that's sort of the decision to make. Tony, what are your thoughts on that?
No, you just explained it perfectly. That's what I was going to say. If you wanted something that people know what it is, you go with the T206s. If look, I was out of the hobby for a long time, but I knew the T206s. Now, when I came back in, I wasn't as versed in the caramel issues, and they're both beautiful, but the scarcity level is not even like you. But it depends on how you look at it. If you go T206 and you want to do some scarce backs, you can make it as scarce as you want it, Mm-hmm. So it just depends on, you got to kind of just decide what your lane's going to be and jump all in.
Mm. And that's what I was going to say too about the backs. I mean, you definitely could make those more interesting. A lot of people collect only the backs. We know a guy that he wants to collect all the T206s with all the different backs, every one. Mm-hmm. So that's quite a challenge. But I mean, there are some nice caramel sets, like specific cards like the E90-2. I wouldn't necessarily want that whole set because I'm not a big pirate fan, and that's all pirates. But like, the Honus Wagner from that is just, it's one of the top cards out there. Mm. The E90-1 are kind of cartoonish. And like, that's the one with like the Joe Jackson that everybody covets, with the zinc ointment on his nose and the big lips on, red lips on his face. It's a terrible card. but the,
but there's some pretty ones too. The Ty Cobb with that burning sunset behind him in that set is amazing.
Yeah, I like that one.
The Sam Crawford in that set is so pretty. There's some beautiful cards in that E90-1.
Right, there are, but there's also some real duds. Like the Wagner's a dud. Like they reuse the same image like for several people.
Yeah,
and it's kind of dopey. But then you have the E98s, which were a lot of those. That was a really highly sought after set for a real long time, with condition scarcity until the swamp find. So now you have all these really low grade ones that all there was for years, and then you have the higher grade ones. And so they're not, I don't know, to collect that whole set, or if that, I wouldn't want to do, I would stick to the T206s, I think, too, because you can really make a great game of that, like Greg does. I mean, he buys just centered portraits right now. I mean, his cards, they look nice all together.
Now, maybe the next Midlife Live, I should just not have an agenda and ask questions because we're getting some good ones. So I've saved a couple I'm going to circle back to that were asked a few minutes ago. I love Mookie's question here. He
I like
says,
that one too.
if the Midlife Syndicate could go in on one card, like Mr. Wonderful's group, what would it be? What is the card, guys, that if you were to make a massive splash with a consortium of people and money,
Us.
what is so basically I'll throw in my $500,
Right.
and then you guys,
I got
where I have a 0.5% stake in the card. What is the card that we're going for, Darren?
Personally, I think we should buy back Tony's Worldwide Gum DiMaggio from the guy that stole it.
Yeah, that would be a good one.
Because it doubled in price since the theft.
Yeah, that's.
I don't know what. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
What would that card? So Tony, that card, what was the grade and what is the value of that card?
It was SGC 4, and when I bought it, it was about 45,000. I don't know what it is now, 70, 80, 90.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know.
Oh, that boutique holder, it's probably 50.
Yeah. So yeah, that was
SGC.
So
nobody wants that.
It's so are we putting a price limit on this, or are we just going into Neverland and saying, look, we're Mr. Wonderful, we can do what we want?
What's our budget? We gotta figure out our budget is
100,000 each.
Okay,
100,000 each. So that means we got $300,500.
$500. Yep.
Right,
guys. If we're going in 100,000 each, I'm all in. It's 400,000, baby.
Oh, there we go.
I'm cashing out the house.
Mookie's probably going to want a little of the action.
So, what are you going with, Petty? 400,000.
I'm going with the M101 Babe Ruth Sporting News with any back. But specifically, if it have the Sporting News back, I think that'd be the most classic. Those things are going for. I mean, I don't know how much are they. Every time I look,
we could probably get like a 2 or a low eye appeal 3.
There's one on Golden right now. I think it's at 300,000, and there's like 3 weeks left.
Yeah.
And it's nice, but
I knew Darren would go with that too, and that's right there on my list. But
Joe put this in Chat GPT, and it says Cobb. And that's on my list. That's
ChatGPT doesn't know a lot about baseball cards. I actually asked it a couple questions about it, and it told me one of the cards I should look for is a T206 Joe Jackson. So it's broken.
So I'm just going to break the mold. I'm just going to go where I'm at. I'm going with the signed 49 Leaf Jackie Robinson. There's only 4. If we could get one for 400 grand, let's go.
You think we could get one for 400 grand?
I would do that. We could sell EFTs.
Possibly.
Well, if it goes for more than 400, we just need to get Mookie's 100,000 in there too.
There you go.
Anybody that wants to take a picture of it, we'll send the picture for $10.
There you
Otherwise,
go.
it'll be all blurry.
Epic.
Right.
And do you want to go with Scott and go all in on Joe Burrows?
Oh, all in.
Does he have a 1-of-1 patch auto that we can get?
Yeah.
I don't know.
None of you said a Cracker Jack card, which
I'd
surprises
rather have a
me.
Ben Burrows.
Well, it's because 400,000. There ain't a whole lot of Cracker Jack cards.
Not,
But should there be? But should there be? Should there be? I mean,
you could buy a set.
Darren Matheson in a 5.
Darren, help me remember. Darren, our buddy bought a SGC 7.
He bought an SGC 7 Shoeless Joe, 19
Cracker Jack.
Yeah,
I don't remember the price.
Center. It was off center.
I mean, what, 60-40?
No, it was like
I'm sure 55 every day he looks at it.
45.
What did that card go for?
I can't remember the exact amount. I think it was like mid 100s.
That's a good deal.
I think so too.
Grade. If it was only in a PSA holder, you'd be so much happier.
Yeah.
I know that would be on my list of things to do.
I don't know if you guys saw this. Here's you go. There's one signed T206 red Cobb out there.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys saw this, but the guy, is it Jamie? I'm trying to remember his name. The guy who had the Cobb collection, who Junk Wax Hero Mike interviewed, and we were hanging out over by the card ladder booth, and he was showing off all of his red Cobbs, which is where my old mill came from, is from his collection.
Mm-hmm.
He just showed he just got in the mail a second
Yeah, I saw that.
Ty Cobb red with a Ty Cobb back.
And
So
that's
he now
probably
has
400,000.
Yeah, he's got one in a
that's like a
2.5 and
3-ish.
one in a 1.5 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Ash will be getting that other one very soon.
Dang, Rick, that sucks. I'm sorry to hear that.
Oh my goodness gracious!
Dang.
How many FedEx REA was sending me? I think we have a hummingbird. Not from REA. So we see.
Yeah,
That's
if you're listening to this, Rick, Vintage Oddball Cards says somebody at FedEx stole 3 rare cards REA was sending me. I think we have a hobby problem. Anyone else have cards stolen? I can tell you that a buddy of mine hit a redemption of a big time prospect a couple of years ago, and it was dropped off by UPS, and his security camera had the guy walking up to the doorstep with the box, the little box that had the redemption card. He then had him going back to the UPS truck, and when he got home, the card had a slit in it, and the card had been taken out.
That fast?
So, yeah. So like at the door, I guess he just slipped it and pulled the card out, I guess. Or maybe he did it in the truck and then just dropped off the envelope. And so he had a whole thing. And I will say that Topps was really, or Fanatics was really good about it. And Fanatics ended up crediting him the value of the card. And they gave him like basically a menu of which of these things do you want instead. But it is a thing that's happening.
Yeah, I'm managing those now.
No leaf page. Nobody went with the leaf page, which is interesting.
Well, it's just because I didn't think one would be $400,000. Robert Love, the next
that's
one,
a
said,
great
Yeah,
card
that
to
Roberts
put
is
in
great. That thing would not go for.
it would be $1 million though. That's why I
We need
didn't
to add
say
a few
that.
more folks to our
I'd want to get a
consortium for
leaf
that one.
page to my very own because I'm a greedy slob.
Um,
I don't want to share it.
You're a poet.
Hey, Philippines collection. I'm glad you're here. You were a winner from the penny sleever this month, and
Wow.
the email address you gave me bounced back. So email me so I can get you in touch with Isaac and get you your $25 gift card. So if you're out there, do that. You can't replace rare cards, and that's part of us mailing these cards all over the place. It's dangerous. Is every time we drop something off in the mail, that is not.
And are we never going to see them again? Or I mean, I wonder if they'll.
Well,
ever,
that's a
any
good
of them-
question.
Nothing
Well,
ever seems to show up.
I've got to search for the Joe DiMaggio Worldwide Gum card, and every time one pops up on eBay, I'm looking that bad boy over to see if somebody got it reslabbed or they're selling it raw, because I know what it looked like. It's like a thumbprint,
Right?
Fingerprint. Yeah. There's a mark on it. The way it's centered. I'm going to look for that thing to the day I die.
Right.
All right, we'll go with this is the last question with the one and only Mr. Orlando. He says, in card collecting, quantity versus quality opinions. Now, in my take in listening to you guys over the last hour and 22 minutes, you guys are all sounding like you're going after massive cards and not necessarily going off of smaller cards. And now Tony's shaking his head at me like I'm crazy, even though he sent me some pictures earlier today of some cards that he bought that weren't small. So, yeah. Tony, why don't we start with you?
So, yeah, I want quality, but I'm building sets too. I'm building the Cracker Jack set. That's a quantity thing, a bunch of, commons. I've got all these Larry Dobies. I've got all of Monty Irvin's. I've got all of Hank Aaron. I've got, I'm building a T211 Red Sunback Nashville set. There's, they're very hard to come by. There's 19 of those.
There's a nice one at the Brockman auction.
There's 2 actually. Don't tell people I'm going.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, I'm going to try to get it. But yeah, I mean, so it's not just that. I'm building sets of things. I built
You're building something. You're working on something big for crying out loud.
I mean, it ain't just one big card. I'm building things too. I like doing that. That's cool.
You're a builder. You build things, cabinets.
Yeah. I like Tony's answer. Basically what Seth just said, right? A large quantity of quality cards.
But that could be tough going for, just, 45 minutes ago, you guys were telling me, hey, Greg, why don't you just buy 2 Babe Ruth cards this year and that be your entire budget? And now you're telling me to do a quantity of quality cards. For some of us,
quality.
that's not
Me-
a
for
quantity of
me,
quality
I would-
cards.
But you ain't gave us
First
two
off the
players.
line. First off the line. That's what you got to get.
Yeah, I don't.
Whatever that means.
So if you're going to
Boom,
tell
I need
me
to be
all I can
first.
buy is Mike Trout cards,
Yeah.
that's cool. I can get a card a week, and but
Yeah.
I
So-
would rather, if you give me 2 guys, I'm going to buy the guys that I really like, and the cards are cool. Like, but if you're into, like, there's a guy I know on Instagram, it's called Trout Collector, and every day on Instagram he posts a different Mike Trout card every single day.
Well, there's like over 40,000 of them.
Yeah, exactly, and he has them.
Yeah, that would be a little bit much. Petty, it sounds like you were more of a quantity guy, and maybe you're moving more into the
Everybody's
quality.
quantity is different. First of
Yeah.
all, like for me,
Yeah.
I'm at 800 graded. Why that was set, that number, I don't know. But I think for now, I'm going to stick with it. Maybe it'll be less someday. It'll never be more than that. That's for sure. So, and then I have 800 raw cards, which I don't seem to play with all that much. I don't see myself getting rid of those because they don't take up much space. They are nice to flip through one on occasion with the grandkids or something of cards that I used to like as a kid. But I think for, who knows where your collecting journey takes you. I may end up collecting sets someday. All that it's going to take is for me to get started on one set. I just don't know how to store them. Some people say put them in binders or what. I like to flip. I thought I used to like to flip through them, but a buddy of mine that collects the sets, he says, I hate the way the binders look. He's so anal. He made a safe and he made special boxes and everything in there for him to flip through the cards so he doesn't have to put them in pages and flip them just because the books are so ugly.
And you collect Three Stooges cards.
I do, but I don't have the whole set. Does that mean that I can't go diddle daddle with the set?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a fun set.
Yeah, you
It
get
is.
I just don't see myself set.
I'm just saying, you ain't all about big cards.
No.
You collect stuff
Hell
you
no.
like.
Can
I've
I
got
ask a
stuff at the
follow-up
bottom of
question?
my 800 cards that are like $15 cards. And these are ones too that I am looking to trim, even though I like them. If they're not centered, or there's something that's not, if they're SGC in a lower grade, out of here. I don't need a second reason because they've been that. I don't enjoy them that much. I need more room at the top.
So
And
let
build
me
the room,
ask a
baby.
follow-up question. If somebody like were myself, I'm out there and I'm listening to this and literally even me too. I'm open to anything as far as where my card journey takes me. If I were to decide to become a consolidator and go more for quality and reduce some of my quantity, do you guys think I should sell the quantity that I'm okay cutting bait from and then go for the buy? Or should I go for the card that I want and then pay myself back by selling the cards after the fact? Because like Jeremy Lee went out and he bought that big Joe Jackson card and then he sold a bunch of stuff to pay for it. So what is the better route in your guys' opinion on how do I go about changing if I'm a quantity collector to a quality collector? Do I sell then buy, or do I buy then sell? Darren, I'll go with you first.
I would personally, if it's a big one, I would say sell before you buy, because you don't want to buy and then suddenly be in a situation where you're not getting the price you thought you would for the other one. And then you have to sell more. And then you might have to sell some stuff that you didn't want to sell in the first place.
Yeah, that's what I do.
You would say the same thing, Tony?
Yeah, like so when I went for I was going for a big signed Jackie Robinson card, and I was offloading some cards, but one of the big ones that I was looking to possibly offload was the 52 mantle. And the guy on this panel had the great idea. He said, talk to Ash and get a deal in principle with him first. Because what I didn't want to do was sell a big card to buy a bigger card. And then I don't get the bigger card in the auction. Now I ain't got the other card anymore. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to know, like, if I pulled the trigger and I was able to get it, I had a deal right then. And that's what I did. I didn't end up having to sell the mantle at the time. But yeah, I like to sell ahead of time, man, to get the funds to buy the card.
How about you, Petty?
Everybody's financial situation's a little bit different,
True.
so it really
True.
depends. Like, I think, like, for me, I don't necessarily want to put out all the money, but if I have to, that's been kind of the way it is. I don't want to be forced to, like, hand over my collection not knowing, oh gosh, and I'm getting 70%, plus I'm paying this guy a fee to fund my cards. I'm just getting hammered doing it. There is a freeness in doing what Tony does. But I kind of do half of that. Like, when I bought a big card the other day, I said, yeah, it was kind of like in my budget. I've had two or three of these cards on my wish list for the year. So I knew it was coming. It was just a matter of time. But then I could have been more prepared by selling the cards, but I had planned on selling $20,000 worth of cards. So
I
that's kind of what I did. I, put the money out, got the card because it came through, and everything else was working. Got, like, 5, 7, 8,000 from Ash here in Ash, there in Ash, everywhere in Ash. Just make a little wave, sell some things, 4 square corners, bingo,
I think that
bango.
Mangini makes a decent point here. He
Real
says,
good
"What
point.
is quantity? Is it 10
Mhm.
cards, 100 cards, 1,000 cards, 10,000 cards?" I mean, because when we say quality versus quantity, well, some people would be okay with
Well,
with
Mangini has he's got quantity and he's got some quality mixed in with all the dog shit he's got in there. But that room, I mean, literally, you couldn't step 2 inches in that thing. It's just so jam packed. He's such a clean hoarder. I don't know how he gets away with it. But when you have a big room of guys like John Keating, he's got a gigantic basement downstairs, and he's got millions of cards. So for him, he's got both quantity and quality, and
But
whatever makes he's got the room.
it's different for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me personally, if there are cards in the corner of my collection that I never look at, I'd rather sell those, man. I'd rather
Yeah.
sell them and get something I'm gonna look at. And
Yeah.
so, but that doesn't mean I'm right and Mangini's wrong.
I want
It's
to try to trim
everybody
some of my
does what
value.
they
I want
do
to
what
trim
they
my
want to
value.
do, man. But because there's people who have checklists and they got some big long Santa list. They go, look what I got. Bam, 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 bam. And that's cool. But I'm not a hoarder like that. I just, if I don't look at it a
I
lot, I'll
hoard my
sell it
own
and get
way.
something
I hoard.
else.
I hoard in small
Yeah,
sections.
I look at the question of quantity versus quality, not so much of like a set number for quantity. It's just, would you prefer to have fewer cards of higher quality or more cards of either lesser players or lesser quality, right? So for me, it's not so much like a set number. It's just, would I rather have few? It's just, would I rather have fewer cards where each card's worth more money, or more cards where each card's worth less per card?
Yeah.
And I'd
Yeah,
rather
I
They
have
take
think
up
it's
less room.
awesome
the
the
fewer
way
cards.
Mangini collects or Moynihan.
Oh,
They've got their stuff cataloged, man. It ain't like it's sitting in some
I mean, like
cobwebs
Mike.
in the
Mike
corner.
can get to those in those cabinets,
That's what
and
I'm
he can find
saying.
cards like that.
I
He
think
pulls
it's
them right out.
awesome the
It
way
is
they do it.
awesome.
That's just not me. Like,
Mhm.
I would rather just
I can't have all that.
that. Yeah, that
Mhm.
would bug me.
Yeah, it's amazing to me. There are times where Mangini someone will reference a card. Like the other day, I was talking about a Gale Sayers card, and then within 8 seconds, he had responded in the text with his rookie Gale Sayers autograph card. It's like he knows
He's
That's
got
what I'm
it.
exactly
talking
where
about.
Yeah,
everything is at.
he
Yeah,
does.
yeah.
I'd
Yeah.
love to see his system for sure.
Here, I mean, this is another good question. Is quality defined by value? I don't think
Yes,
we think it's defined by
value.
grade.
It's only by
No.
value.
It
Value.
honestly,
Click this
value
button.
quality to me is the eye of
Value.
the beholder. What do I think is cool? Like, I'm into autograph stuff. Petty thinks they suck. So
Yeah,
Petty
I
would
like them
look at my
somewhat.
autograph stuff and go,
I
that's not
like them. I mean,
quality. That
I
sucks. Why
think
would
they're
you collect those fake things?
overpriced, but for
So
what
yeah,
you
Well,
I
get,
mean,
no,
well,
they're great.
we're at an hour and 34 minutes. I want to say a couple last closing thoughts, and then I'll go around the horn and see what you guys have. First thing I want to say is tomorrow morning, Tony has a video posting that you won't want to miss. So check that out. My new podcast video form with Mike Junkwax Hero posts tomorrow morning as well. You also are not going to want to miss the Odd Couple Live, which is on Monday, October 6th, which is 2 weeks from today at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. So that will be a blast. So if you're hanging out in here, if you're still one of the 125 hanging with us, I hope that you will consider attending that. Darren,
thanks,
do you have
guys.
any final thoughts?
No, I dropped a 3-minute video today.
It was good
And
too.
showed a beauty, showed an absolutely beautiful
don't
quality
tell people
card.
what it is. You gotta watch.
We didn't talk about Willie Mays. I mean, there's a guy. He died, and his prices went down. And that card is just a classic. You cannot have you can't have a collection without that card. What am I full of shit? I did it behind the scenes in his rooms. It's packed full of what? Nothing. Pictures. And my card ladder right here with the values. Daily changes.
I went by Petty's house one time. He didn't know it. I looked in his driveway. He had one of those little mobile units and just had cards all in it out there. Just in a unit. Yeah.
Tony, final thoughts from you.
To me, I think collecting is all about value.
Yep. Nothing but assets and
holy crap.
Hey, by the way,
boy.
I addressed my thoughts on that on tomorrow's video. It's a little
teaser.
Let's not forget profit.
Profit.
If it wasn't it's not a dirty word, according to Card Ladder.
Okay.
And I think we should embrace the technology and start charging these prices. If the dealers want any of my cards, I'm going to print out these values here, but potential value, and show it to them. See how that goes. I'll get back to you on it.
And with that, I think that's going to be a wrap for MidLife Live 9. Again, I can't tell you all how much I appreciate everybody coming out. The chat was amazing. And chat,
thanks,
I promise
chat.
you, MidLife Live 10, chat, I am going to reward you for all of your efforts in making these fun. So
free penny savers for everybody.
No.
Penny saver for you.
That will be coming in. That announcement will be coming soon. So thanks to everyone. Enjoyed this a ton. My panel is the best. You guys are my brothers. I love you guys.
Love.
And with that,